Okay. All right. We are ready. We're ready for our Q&A. 124, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Why don't you say that name?
Fiona Kotsiampasi.
That's a tough one. Now, this is when I took my low-rise jeans and added some other jeans to make them high-rising, and says, why not buy mid or high-rise pants? But fantastic idea. And
They're not available everywhere.
yeah, they're not. When the low-rise pants came out, they were so cute and they just made you look cute and everything. But then you find out the trouble of them staying up. Every time you bend over, you have to hitch them up constantly. And I didn't know that. When I bought them, I thought, oh, I paid a lot of money for these pants.
The high rise, because we have the same problem with men. The high rise goes above the top of the
Yeah.
hip, and they kind of stay up by themselves. But the low rise is below the belly button and
Yeah.
just keeps going down.
But he says just buy higher pants. I say, yeah, you can. But when I bought these pants, it was really hard to find. That was the style. Everything was the low rise. Unless you got some, go to the DI and find some old pants that had the high rise. But that solved my problem of adding on to them.
But they're switching back to high rise.
Yeah, they're
now.
switching back to high rise. People
Yeah.
are getting tired of the low rise. But I like the look of the low rise, but I didn't like
The fit.
how you have to constantly hitch them up. You're always hitching your breeches.
That's because they're below the top of your hip,
Yeah,
and they're
my
below your
grandkids-
belly button.
My grandkids always say, what does that mean, to hitch your breeches? Hitch up your breeches. It means pull your pants up.
They asked that. Who
Yeah.
asked it?
What are breeches? What does hitch mean? Okay, JD, a little bit of everything. Why were books and things down there? Was it storage? Oh, this is down in the crawl space.
Can I answer that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so basically we were in this house for 40 years, and we had 6 children and 2 adults, no garage, and
Before we added on.
before we added on. And things just kind of, and then I had the brilliant idea of digging my own basement because a neighbor had done it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and so I went
My
down.
grandpa did it.
And I started digging a hole down there, and I went down about a foot and a half, getting the rocks out. So it became kind of a convenient place to put things, and I think we didn't have hinges on the little door then, did we? Or how did we
Oh,
get
yeah, it's
down
always been like
Oh.
that, yeah. But people had put stuff down there. We used to hide Christmas presents down there for the kids, and we just, I don't know, forgot about stuff down there. And the other stuff, that horsey pinata thingy, I don't know
Who
where that
knows?
came
Who
from,
knows?
and the carpet stuff, I don't know. Some of it was ours, a couple of the boxes, but the rest was people that had just
Wasn't
lived
there a
before
carpet
us.
there?
There were rolls of carpet, and
Where do
mind you,
we
this
didn't
is,
want to put the carpet in the living room and the
Yeah.
bedroom out front.
mind you, this is like 40 years ago, and we can't remember back that far. We've been here 42 years, 40. Yeah, I think 42 years. And then Shelby Greenwood wants to know where did that come from in the first place? That's just cleaning it up down in this crawl space video, and I think she means the sludge. Just who knows, water leakage.
Okay, I'll tell them.
Okay.
Over the years, plumbing gets older and starts leaking, and sometimes they get bad leaks where you have to turn the water off to the house so a plumber comes.
And we don't know.
And over the years, the water starts puddling down there. And the worst offender of that was we had the 1.5-inch pipes and the very narrow
for our washing machine.
A P-trap is the little, so the smell doesn't go in the house. It just kind of loops around. And so eventually the washing machine was clogging up the pipes all the time, and the water would literally run down there. And I'm not sure who put the plastic down, but the water started puddling on there.
And in the kitchen we had a leak in there, and you don't know till you crawl under there. We never crawl under there. And then when we started smelling stuff, we said, okay, something's
we're talking
going on. Years.
So those accumulated, the water down there accumulated over a long period of time.
Strange. My brother, he's a plumber, and he lives up in Idaho. My brother Brent, and he just retired, and he says the first thing he said when he retired, he says, I don't have to go down in crawl spaces anymore. Plumbers do not like crawl spaces.
There's
not much space.
What, 3 feet or 2 feet?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much space. Okay.
And we had a guy that was going to spray just a teeny bit for insects
down
there. And before he even got down there, he went, oh,
saw a spider.
Saw a spider. And
you have to see my video.
And he was there to spray for insects and bugs and spiders.
Yeah, the bug guy was scared of bugs.
He was afraid of them.
Okay, Holly Kelly. How did the water get down there? Flood? Does it smell like sewer? That is very...
No, it didn't smell like sewer. It smelled like sitting water that's never been...
It smelled like sewer.
Sewer is poo.
That's true. That rhymes. It was just a stench that, we could hardly breathe.
Well, other words are, it smelled musty.
Yeah.
And just smells like we go into a home.
The eternal stench.
Yeah, a stench or...
and says this person, Holly says, I've never seen a crawl space entrance in the floor like that. How did all that stuff get down there? They are curious about just people lived before us, and we put stuff down there. So it was pretty crazy. All right. Change of battery. Okay.
Not too bad.
Now let's go on to the next question.
Yep.
Kathy Conley. Want to read that one?
Sure. Mama, I was wondering what your state bird is. It is the flower, tree, and song is, and what the state dance is.
Okay. And I had to look a couple of those up. Do you know the state bird?
Well, it's a seagull, isn't it?
State bird's a seagull.
Yeah.
Do you know the flower?
Because that's the one that saved the pioneers.
Yeah, there's a reason that we have the seagull. When the pioneers moved here, to seek refuge.
They had locusts that were eating their crops up in swarms.
And locusts are grasshoppers.
Yeah, they were coming in swarms, and then all of a sudden,
they prayed for help.
And I'll get choked up with this. All of a sudden, the swarm of seagulls came, and they ate the locusts, and then they would fly to the Great Salt Lake, spit them up, and then come back and get more.
And so it was pretty much a miracle. Because the people prayed, they go, great, here we've got our crops. There's no supermarket down the street. They need their crops or they will die. So they start praying, and they're trying to hit the locusts with, are they crickets or grasshoppers? Anyway, hit them with their shovels and stuff, but they couldn't kill them fast enough. And then they see, it looked like a big black cloud coming. They go, what is that? And it was the seagulls. And they just ate every single
well, they
locust.
eat them till they're full, and they'd go spit them up in the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah,
so that was probably
it was a miracle. Look that up anywhere, and you'll find that story. And that's why the seagull and the flower.
Look up under Google seagulls and eating locusts.
Yeah, for the
Utah pioneers.
Mormon pioneers, yeah. So it was a miracle, and then they were saved, and so it's really an amazing story. And the flower is the lily.
Sago lily.
Sago lily. Tree is the, let's see, quake and aspen, I think.
State tree is cherry.
Oh, blue spruce.
Oh.
The fruit is the cherries.
Oh, yeah. Blue spruce looks like it's an evergreen that looks like a Christmas tree, except it's bluish. Has a
I was thinking it was a quake and aspen.
It has a beautiful tint to it.
And the state song is "This Is the Place." I don't know if I know that one. The state bird is seagull, state flower, sago lily, and the state dance is a square dance. And the state fruit is cherry. So it was kind of interesting. I looked it up. We even have a state pan. It's the Dutch oven. I thought, wow, okay. Go ahead and do the next one. So that was really a fun question to answer.
The Wagger Zoo. Where did you find your suitcase?
I have that cute polka dot suitcase, and if I remember right, I got that on Amazon, and I got yours too, the black one. So
on Amazon.
Because we're always sleeping over at the grandkids, to babysit and heading to Oregon, and so we need a quick little tote to tote around. Okay, Helen Gay, what a hoot! What was this? Is when I went with my sisters to Wendover to see Air Supply.
Wendover is a border between Nevada and Utah on the west side.
It is about an hour and a half drive. And we rode in my sister's motorhome. We had a lot of fun.
Isn't the Great Salt Lake on your right as you're driving there?
As you're driving there, it's on our right. As you drive back, it's on your left.
Or are you on an overpass that goes across the Great Salt Lake?
To get to the Saltaire. Yeah. And she wants to know what that old building was that we stopped at, and that's called Saltaire, and it has a gift shop in it. That's about it. You tell about it when you were little, and then I'll tell about.
Okay, when I was 11 years old, we went to Saltaire. It was a huge building built over the salt. Now the Saltaire was about, if I remember right, about 7% salt, and I think oceans are around 3 or 4%. So it floats better, and they had showers there, so you can't put your head under because you get your...
They had showers with clean water, not the salt water.
Yeah, and you could swim in it, and that just means float around in it. If you could lay back and you don't sink a bit, or you could stand straight up, and it might come just below your shoulders.
You couldn't sink because there was so much salt. I don't know if you can now.
It's about 7%. No, but since we've had more rain,
and we take the salt out of there. And it was built in 1893, and it was the biggest ballroom for dancing. And it had a roller coaster. You said you rode on it.
It's
an old wooden roller coaster.
An old wooden roller coaster, and you could feel the whole thing just wobble as it.
And it had a train that would bring people out every 45 minutes. There were 10,000 people there the first day. And then it burned down in 1923, and it was rebuilt in 1981.
So some millionaire invested lots of money to rebuild it.
In 1981.
Yeah.
And
that was the only year we've ever had a flood in Utah, and it ruined it.
He rebuilt the roller coaster, and it ruined the roller coaster. So if you look up Saltaire, Saltair, Saltaire, it's quite an amazing history of it. And now that's all that's left. I remember taking the kids out there to do a clogging competition. They sometimes have weddings out there, but all that was there when we went was a gift shop. And because it is quite an amazing building, and the guy that designed it and built it is the same guy that built the Capitol in Salt Lake City, the Capitol building. So it was interesting. Okay, I don't know. I don't have the name of this person of the next question. Why don't you use milk but you use cream? Just curious.
For what?
For any of my cooking.
Oh.
We quit drinking milk about 36 years ago, something like that. 34 years ago, because we're allergic to it.
Well, we had 2 children that would stuff right up, ears,
allergies.
Nose, and allergy. They were not totally. They loved their ice cream, but they were always had coughing.
We used to drink 5 or 6 gallons a week of milk.
Yep.
And Jimmy Joe, he's the one that's the Action Lab, our doctor. What do you call him? Doctor in chemical engineering. And he was just so sick, and he was a baby, 2 or 4 months old. He had tubes put in his ears. He had his adenoids taken out, and he was sick constantly. And they thought we got to do his white blood corpuscles, or whatever you call those, are not producing like they should, and they didn't know what to do. And this neighbor lady, she told me, just take him off milk. I thought, oh, I'll never do that. And finally, when he was 18 months old, I did take him off milk, and all our problems were solved. He wasn't sick, so we quit using milk. But cream...
Well, what's kind of ironic is it says right on milk, vitamin, is it B? Vitamin D. Vitamin D added, meaning milk does not naturally have
Yeah,
that vitamin D in, and they say it's so nutritious, but yet it has to be added in there.
Yeah, we just couldn't handle the milk, so we just went right off it. And cream,
And also
we
there's
just
one,
do that once in a while.
is it glucose in there that they make glue out of?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
why your throat feels sticky after you've
Yeah,
eaten
but
milk.
we
No,
don't.
really.
We don't. You don't want to get me on my soapbox of milk. I'm still mad at milk.
They make glue out of some of the products of from a cow.
Casein is
It's
in milk,
casein,
and that's
yeah.
So yeah, I'm still mad at milk because each of my kids got sicker and sicker and constant ear infection. I don't know. It was just a nightmare. And once we went off milk, it was just fine. And so that's why I don't use milk. But I'll use water in place of milk, or I just use the cream. And cream we don't use very often, and doesn't affect us like the milk does. So that was a good question. But
we're not religiously against it, meaning we don't go, oh no, not milk.
well, if somebody offers me milk, I'll drink it.
Yeah,
but,
same here.
But it's the constant, the 5 to 6 gallons a week, and my kids were just getting sicker and sicker. It was, it was just a nightmare when we were raising our
Okay,
kids.
repeating yourself.
Yeah, I'm repeating myself. Okay, Lisa Vinson, you read that one.
Okay. Bless it. You've got some great sons. Way to go, guys. Is it better now they've cleaned it up? Any more leaks?
The crawl space.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't smell it at all. I think that cat litter absorbed the smell. And we had the plumber come yesterday.
No,
And
we drained all the water, and then we took off the plastic. The water was,
not the plumber, Jimmy Joan.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we put 15, 25-pound sacks of cat litter, which
Yeah.
absorbs odors, on top of the ground down there, and then fresh plastic over
Hopefully
it.
they saw that video.
No, but the same day,
The smell.
the smell just left.
Yeah, it was just, once we got that sludge out of there and then put that cat litter down, that absorbed the smell.
It wasn't thick black mold, but there was a lot of different kinds of mold.
Yeah, it was just black sludge. Well, you guys saw it in the video. And I'll post the video here so you can see the black sludge. And I'm just so thankful they went down there. It took about 5 hours, and the plumber went down there, and we asked him, I said, did you smell anything? He said no. I said, did you see any leaks? He said no. But what he's going to do is he's going to come back and make 2-inch pipes under there instead of 1.5-inch pipes.
So there's
He
a
says
certain
that's
section.
the code.
There's certain section. Everything new is 2-inch pipes and drains.
Yeah.
Well, drains. And now last trip he had increased them to 2 inches, but not everything.
He says that that's the code now. To be up to code, it has to be 2-inch pipes, and ours are 1 1/4. So they can check for
and
leaks.
when your washing machine is pumping soapy and dirty water out of there real strong, it actually will start backing up.
About once a year, it'll back up and spill water out, and so hopefully we can get that problem solved. Okay, we got one more question.
Yeah.
Last one. Okay, Peachums. She loved the little basketball hoop on the outhouse. And question: while raising your kids, did you ever come across tension with other neighborhood moms that had to work and you were able to stay home? And that's a good question.
I can answer that. Yeah, this is how they solved it. They wanted their kids to stay at our house while they were
said,
working.
You're at home. You take the kids. They'd send their kids down, and I thought, oh. So I was the neighborhood watch person, and finally I said, you can pay me to watch your kids, but I don't want to watch your kids. I said, and I'd always say, you could stay an hour. Says that your mom hasn't talked to me
I
and
thought
asked.
it was a half hour. I didn't think it was
An hour, yeah. I'd say, I'll let you stay an hour. And because I remember counting 25 kids at the house once. And I said, this is getting ridiculous.
But when I got home from work, I said,
they would scatter.
okay,
Yeah.
everybody go
Everybody
home.
out of the pool. But it was really, really popular 40-something years ago for women to go out to work. And
It still is.
I think more so women are wanting to stay home now with their kids, and it's just hard for them to find.
But they can't. If the husband is,
Yeah.
they can never buy a home if they're both working at minimum wage or just above.
Yes, had meat cook and had to run and turn it off. But now, you know what? We made it through. It wasn't easy because we didn't have much money, but Papa had a good job.
I had 2 jobs.
2 jobs, yeah. And I sewed changing pads and stuff, but to kind of help for, you know, some play money. But and then there were always somebody that would say, "Oh, I never had the luxury to stay in home," and I think there is kind of a tension between the stay-at-home moms and the ones that work. But this is the book I wrote. It says "Mom, I'm Home," and you can find a link for that underneath of how I made it happen. And when women say, "I never had that luxury," I say, "Oh, it's not a luxury. It is hard."
Occasionally somebody would say, "Well, what do you do all day?"
Yeah, they think you're sitting home eating chocolates
and watching TV.
Oh, it is tough staying home, you know, and you wonder if women went to work because they needed the money or because they were running from their kids. Say, or let somebody else do this. This is too hard. But I talk a lot about that in my book, Mom, I'm Home.
Did you bring it so they can see it?
I did, didn't I? I held it.
Okay. Yeah. So
Mom, I'm Home. Yeah, but that's a good question, and even. I would just say you just make it happen. I remember my sister, she was saying how she didn't know how she could possibly stay home. And I just said, you just choose to stay home and you just make it happen. And she had a baby that died of SIDS, and she was just heartbroken. She says, I missed my baby, you know, I didn't get to be home with him. I just said, you just decide, make a decision and make it happen. You just do it. You find a way to make it happen. And she's a stay-at-home mom.
One of the ways is you will discover ways to work at home.
You find ways. If you need money, you find ways to work at home. I've tied flies. I've sewn collars on shirts. I did preschool for 18 years.
We've assembled blow-dart guns for
blow-dart guns,
people.
Yeah.
And we assembled parts for furnaces.
Or you get jobs. My sister, the one that lost her baby, Alisa, she worked at the lunchroom, and you're home with your kids, and because you're on the same school schedule as your kids. And you know, like my kids all stay home. They paint furniture. They do weddings. They all find a way to stay home. It's not a luxury. It's a choice. And so, but there's some people that get really mad at that and think, well, you know, it's just in a woman to want to stay with her children and stay home, and you just make it happen. You find a way. And I'm really grateful that I did stay home, but I did choose that. And I remember my daughter even saying, "Mom, why don't you go to work so we can have more stuff?" And I says, "Go ask the little girl across the street if she wishes her mom was home, or because she had a lot of stuff. Her mom could buy her what she wanted." You falling asleep?
No, I'm waiting.
No, okay, waiting. All right, we'll go ahead and close.
And our kids used to tell us, I'm the only one where our family has never gone to Disneyland or gone on a vacation.
Yeah, we didn't get to do any of that, but no. I was home. We did our own Disneyland, and we had a lot of fun. And like we went around singing for 10 years, and I couldn't afford clogging lessons, so I went and learned how, and then I taught my kids.
Didn't our children secretly, they're calling that abuse?
To sing in front of people, they were.
with your homemade outfits.
Homemade outfits, and I sent lunches to the kids. I couldn't afford school lunch, so I made our own, made bread. You find a way. You just find a way. If in your heart you really want to stay home, you will find a way. Okay, let's go ahead and close with a quote. It says, "Joy is prayer, joy is strength, joy is love, joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls."
Okay, mine. The many things we give are actually the things He has already given or loaned to us.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, that's good. Well, Hope you like that Q&A. Keep the questions coming. We love it. We love this time that we get to spend together. And thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then go ahead and do that at the top left corner. I think this is left. And ring that bell.
Oh yeah, that is my left arm.
Thanks. And
Well, to your right, and that's...
because it gets switched. I don't know how it switches, but because I'm actually on the right side of Papa, and in the camera it shows me on the left. Anyway, thank you, and good night, everybody.
Good night.